Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. We are going to be working on the lawnmower today, so a little change of pace. Um, if you're here, you're having the same issue. So we're talking about the linkage for the RTZ-S Cub Cadet riding lawnmower. It was sticking on turns, and my son normally cuts the grass, so he let me know about it. I took it out and I noticed it was kind of a little bit, felt a little slower in a straight line, but on turns it would hang up and then take off like once you turn the wheel just slightly more. So I went underneath and checked the linkage, and the linkage is quite worn and one of the arms is bent. So that's throwing it way out and just making it hang up. In the end here, I do have some of it apart because I had to kind of investigate what the problem was. But my suggestion is to clean off this deck because this is where all the grass and stuff's gonna like pile up underneath. There's a cover here, so I will show how to put the cover back on later. But I got a kit that replaces all of these steering parts. So here is the steering parts right here. Now it looks different. Here's the original, and you can see that at first I thought I got the wrong thing, but I realized by looking at these rods, they're kind of long, so I'm sure I can see what their fix was here. So like I was saying, I thought it was wrong, but if you look at it, this part is the same. So if you stack these on top of each other, those slots and all that line up, that hole up in the front. What they did was, this is obviously a weak link because this flat stuff is so long, it probably is more susceptible to bending. And if you lay it flat on its side, you'll see it's pointing upward, and that's how it was off. Now what they did, it looks like here, is they just made these rods longer. They're probably stronger because they're solid round bar compared to this flat. So what all they're doing is these connections here are just going to go up farther than they used to. So it's going to go under the deck, but instead of mounting way back here, it's going to go here, and I'm assuming that's for leverage. And if you look at it also, it's quite a bit wider. So, because as you can see, it's all distorted. So you get these pieces too, which mount up here in the front. So what we're going to do is we need to remove the other side. Now they have a tool from the Cub Cadet, but I just got two long bolts because they're 1/4 inch. You can drop them in this hole. So when you drop that bolt in, it's going to go through into this lower gear, and you know that your wheels are straight. So you put one on each side, and that's going to center your wheels. So that's that. Now, I know that these steering rods are right. So this is the one I removed from the machine, and this is the one that matches it. So there is a right and a left, although this one says it's the right side, but it's the right side if you're facing it. Somebody put an L on here. I don't know if that means something, but this also says right hand, so it matches. So I'm going to throw this gear on right now because it's not going to... I could get the tie rod set first, and then we'll worry about the hydraulic linkage. All right, so all I did was I dropped the gear onto the tractor, and you see that hole down there. Now that hole lines up, okay? And then I got the nut on underneath. And then this tie rod just dropped straight on, no problem. And then this piece here is for that bar that goes to the hydraulic linkage, so we won't worry about that right now. these will come off, but I am going to change the other gear on the other side so it's got a fresh new one. And then this way I can steer it around and I can put it on the lift because I could take the deck off to work underneath it. So here what I did here, I turned the wheel a little bit so that I can access that right there. And this is a 13mm nut. Alright, so I took the nut off, lift this off out of the way, and now all I need to do is take this out. There's a 15mm underneath, take this off, then this gear will come out. And probably the best thing to do would be like straighten the wheel again and drop it on so you know you're in the right spot. So you just reach underneath, find that nut. Now you have this piece you got to get out of there too. The other side really doesn't have that, so that's like an 11, and then this piece will be free. And you get all this new hardware with the new kit, obviously. So it's a little bit of a puzzle getting it out of there. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I can put the other one, new one, back in. Right now it should not cause an issue. And like I said, for now you want to get this tie rod kind of lined up. So you can line that up, and it should be close to where it's got to go. We could always move it after, but I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the new bolt they give you on this piece here, and then get that in there. Okay, so now I have my both plates in, tie rod connected, and the bolts in the gear, and that hole there, you can see the floor. So everything is straight. At this point, I can move on to the hydraulic linkage, which is just this stuff here, along with your new big washers. All right, got it crudely on my lift, but this is what I'm talking about. So here is the rod, and here's the new one. And what you want to do, the way they're shaped, I could tell this one goes on this side because of the bends here. But if you hold it up, you see it's a little longer. So it is now going to reach the new wider piece and probably be stronger. So you see how this one attaches way back here, and that one's more towards the front. So that is their fix, probably, to make it last longer. So what I got to do now is I'm gonna unhook this one here. It's two 13 millimeter. And then back here, I have to unthread this rod and put the new one in on both sides so I can reconnect it. And once everything's all connected, you could check the, they call the neutral. So you're gonna want it to not creep when you're not pressing the pedal, and you adjust that by lengthening or shortening these rods. They're also slotted, so you could do it there too. Okay, I have both the rods changed out. They just thread on like normal right hand threads. And I'm just gonna have the bolt. There is a little plastic spacer on each side that goes in between the tie rod end, or I'm just gonna call it that, and this plate here. So I'm just gonna leave them loose because in the end here, we're gonna check for creep. So when I have this connected to the new bars, is what you do is you have it so it sits running and the wheel's not turning, and then you just adjust this length so that it slides on here perfectly without moving anything, and then you're good. So now that these are on, we're going to work on replacing these things here and those front mounting plates. Those are the, not mounting plates, but they are what move it forward with the linkage. Well, after further review of how I'm going to do this part, I decided that we're going to take that bolt out there where it joins the two together. There's a bracket that connects these two, and because there's bolts in there that are going to be hard to get to because those plates are in the way. So instead of fighting it, we're just gonna take it off there. I got the thing on it right there. I'll just undo that, and then there is these two larger ones, one on each side, and then they'll both come out. Then we can put the thing back together with the brackets while it's out, drop them back in, and reinstall the bolts. That center bolt comes out like any other bolt, but it does have like that collared washer, and there's one on each side, the nut side and the bolt side. But now they're free, they're separate. So now the only thing I have to do is take that bolt out and swap these out and put that all back together. I took that bolt out from underneath right there. Now we have this out of there. I just literally lifted it up. So now over here on the table, what we need to do is swap out this piece onto the new one. So find the one that's got the same setup. I think it's this one. Okay, this is the one. So you got your holes. This bracket, so we got to move this to here, and then we could just put this right back on. It does come with a new bolt and the nut. All right, so I have the part swapped over and I have it remounted in here. I really suggest doing it this way because you can't mix up side to side or get the parts on wrong. Just get this stuff here done right the first time and you won't have any issues. So now I'm going to take the other side off and I will show you what you need to look for when you put that other side on. There's a yellow one and a black one. I take it they do that so that you could see which side's what. All right, so when you're putting this bracket on, there is like a shoulder on that bolt. All right, you want this here. You don't want this like sitting like this when you tighten it, because then it'll smash between there and it won't move free. I mean, you won't be able to hook it up if you do it that way, so you know that you're going to be fighting it. So you want it like that and then tighten it so that it can flop around. Okay, so now I have it tight and it just freely moves around. So now we can put this piece back in and then put this bolt back in, and then we're getting close. All right, so now it's time to put this bolt back in. Remember this collar, that has to go in the yellow and contact the center brighter metal piece so that it's free to move. So I got the bolt back in, and you want to make sure that both your pieces are free. The bolt's tight, but they wiggle still a little bit, so that means that they are in the collar of that washer. So in my kind of fashion, I typically like to do one side first so I can mess up and look like I know what I'm doing. So I got the, whatever, I'm gonna call it the driver's side. That's done. We're gonna do this side. So I got the wheel turned all the way to the left so that this piece here is closer to being easy, it's easier accessible. So you're gonna bring this thing in like this. There's a front hole in this there. That's where we're aiming for. So the way this goes, this one bolt is gonna go upward. So you're gonna start with a metal flat and then a plastic, and then that is gonna go, you gotta feed it from underneath, and you can kind of like hold it like that. Now you want this like little bearing thing, that's what's gonna ride in the center of this. Go with another plastic and another metal. But before you do all that, just like I said before, no, I was right. So plastic, metal, put this on top. And have your nuts over here because it's a really pain in the ass. You got this all held up where you want it, and then it's you can't do you got to let go of it. So now that it's like that, it's probably easiest now to, if possibly, see if you can get to it with the wrench. Last time I put the other one in to hold it, so you can tighten the front one, because the back one is easier to do. And you'll know that it's set up right, because when this is tight, it's still gonna slide because it's got that spacer. Those are designed to let it move freely. So this one does not have a nut. So basically you just need to get the spacers in correctly and then drop the bolt in there. It's the same thing. So you kind of want to line it up the best you can. This has like a little collar in it too, so it will line up the washer. And then go back with the plastic and the steel. And then for this, you kind of got to get it on there and feel for the hole underneath. You might have to turn the wheel. Or in this case, lift it up a little bit. Once you get it lined up, it drops right in. There. And then with this, you're going to have to use a ratcheting wrench. And these bolts all have like a Loctite on the threads already. I swear the other side, well, you know, the other side had a little more room because of the pedals on over there. And when you get close, you might want to make sure we're still kind of moving around easily. You want those washers to fit in that little groove, or that kind of roller that goes in the center. Again, when this is tight, it should still move, and it does. So now we can straighten the front wheels, probably put the pins in again to make sure it's locked in the straight position, and then we can put this stuff on underneath. So now I have the bolts back in, locking the wheels straight. You can also drop bolts in here, and those line up too, will also hold it straight. But as you can see, these here are both in the same spot, so those look good. These are, and this is how it drives. The last time with the old one, this piece here, the end was over here because it was bent, and that was causing it to hang up. So I'm pretty confident that if I kind of have this, you know, in a neutral spot here where it looks like it's returned all the way, if I just kind of like line everything up, it should be able to be put on without it creeping at all once it's running. So now underneath here, I will connect these rods, and like I said, there's slots in there so you can like adjust it. All right, I just did start it up and doing it the way I mentioned. There is no creep, so I started it up in the air and let it just sit in you know, neutral, and the wheels were not spinning. And then I pressed my foot on this right here, and the wheels started going forward. So I'm pretty confident that it's lined up and working. So I'm going to tighten the tie rod lock jam nuts, and then basically just put the rest of this part together. And I'll just make sure the steering wheel's straight, because when you take it off, there isn't really a centering spline, so you just kind of got to put it on straight. But yeah, other than that, so I'm going to put it up, tighten those jam nuts, get it back down, and put the top stuff back. All right, I got those tight. So one last, you know, look at this while it's up. You got these longer rods. These are wider. Use a way different style washer up top, much wider weight displacement. So this original setup lasted 10 years, so this will probably outlast the machine at this point. Another thing I wanted to mention is, you see those teeth in there, okay? When you take the stuff out of here, you probably want to make sure that you don't leave any nuts from the old hardware in there, because if it gets caught in those gears, you're gonna have to take this all off, because it could lock the steering up because it gets in between the teeth. I mean, I don't think you'll break it, but it's not probably gonna be fun. It'll probably happen at the worst time to, get to that. So I don't know if I'm helping or hurting, but I put white lithium grease on the sliders, and I don't think it's gonna hurt it. Before it was just running dry pretty much, so we'll get this. So we're gonna take the steering wheel off. It's just a 13mm bolt, and it just slides right off, and then we'll slide this cover plate on. Okay, so with the steering wheel off, I'll just take the cover, just drop right in, and now you're gonna put all your Torx bolts in. There's a piece that goes here. All right, so there's really nothing to it. You put the panel on, and you just put the Torx screws in. The pedals, they just kind of like interlock at the bottom, roll it up, and then I believe they're just all 13s, except for this one. And then really after this, all that's left is the deck. On the steering wheel. But really this isn't that bad. I know I did it on a lift, but I guess if you can, you're gonna do it. Just gotta remember to put this one on. So we'll just tighten these up and get the deck on and give it a run. All right, so the deck's back on. Got these front pieces back on. Steering wheel's good to go. Took it for a ride. It's super smooth, like it's brand new. The steering is smooth. The transition, turning right and left, is smooth. Don't really need a whole lot of crazy adjustment tools. Just center your wheels and make sure you get those tie rods hooked up right and straight, and make sure everything's lined up with the holes. The 4 holes I showed you, the ones in the gears that go through the floor, and the ones that pivot up front. Other than that, it's kind of easy. It would be a little harder on the floor, but not too bad. But it definitely is easier putting it up. To see the old ones, trying to see, they are pretty worn. I don't know where the one right here, this is how bad they wear out. And on the originals, there is no plastic. It's just metal on metal. So at least with the plastic, you got some time with that before it gets to metal. But these are so narrow, that other setup completely like spreads the load. So I'm pretty confident that that's gonna, like I said, last the rest of this machine's life. So please hit that like and subscribe button. There's always more to come. If there are any more lawn equipment stuff that comes up, I'll be doing that. Other than that, I'll go back to my car projects. But until next time, we'll catch you on the next one.